The altcoins are the losers of this massive Bitcoin rally. Bitcoin is now at 22.5%. It went up by 35% year to date. And the altcoins aren't doing as well. And this is surprising. Now, first of all, most people might not see that the altcoins are actually underperforming. Because when we look at the top 100 gainers, say in the last 24 hours, there are some quite nice altcoins, right? Like Aptos going up by 37%, Hedera Hashgraph 21%, Optimism 19%. So what's the problem with altcoins? The problem with altcoins is that nobody holds just one or two altcoins. Nobody's going to pick just the one or two altcoins that are doing the best in a given time period. Everybody pretty much has a portfolio of altcoins. You try to somewhat diversify your risk, right? You don't know if one project does better than the other. You can't perfectly pick the winners. So you diversify somewhat, try to get somewhat of a balanced return. Thus, what's more important than the individual return of a particular altcoin is the altcoin performance in aggregate. What is the altcoin market doing? How well is the altcoin market performing relative to Bitcoin, relative to Ethereum? How big is the altcoin market relative to the entire crypto market? Now we can measure this. And one way to measure this is with Total 3. Total 3 is cryptocurrency's market cap, excluding Bitcoin's market cap and excluding Ethereum's market cap. So it's all of cryptocurrency's market cap, but Bitcoin and Ethereum. And we can take that altcoin market cap and we can put it in relation, so we can divide it by the total cryptocurrency market cap. So you can see how much of all of crypto is in altcoins. And when we look at that kind of a graph, this is what you're getting. And this is not so nice. So let's look at this. Since the 9th of November, there was quite much a depression in the altcoin market cap. Before, almost 42% of all of crypto was in altcoins. Now it's less than 36%. Less than 36% of all crypto is in altcoins, and it's continuing to go down. Now, the reason why this is concerning is because during this time, crypto actually went up in its entirety, right? Measured in US dollars. We just look at Bitcoin, right? Since beginning of the year, up by 35%. And in the same time frame, the altcoin market cap relative to the rest of cryptocurrency market cap is going down. Now, why is this happening? This is counterintuitive. One might expect the altcoins to be more volatile, to basically go up more when times are bullish and to go down more when times are bearish, right? The altcoins, they move up and down a lot, and Bitcoin is moving up and down just a little bit. Basically, the altcoins amplify Bitcoin's movement, right? That's the theory. That's the reason in the end why a lot of people speculate with altcoins in the first place. They are more volatile. You can take advantage of these ups and downs more. Now, why, when Bitcoin is going up that much, why aren't the altcoins outperforming? Why isn't more of cryptocurrency's market cap now in altcoins? I think the reason has something to do with the psychology of the market that's very similar to when we came out of the bear market in 2018. Let's zoom out for this and let's study history a little bit. All right, so we had this massive bear market in 2018, right? We went down in Bitcoin by more than 80%. Currently, we are in a similar situation, right? We came down from top to bottom by roughly 78%, okay? It's a bit less, but still, of course, in terms of dollars, it's way more. Still, obviously, a bear market, obviously a crypto winter. Now, we had this massive bull run afterwards, right? We had this really nice rally of more than 300% in Bitcoin, where Bitcoin went from 3.2K to roughly 13K, right? More than a 4x or a 300% gain. This is nice. But what happened to the altcoins during this time? What happened to the altcoins during this rally straight out of a bear market? Let's look at this, right? So this low here is in December of 2018, middle of December of 2018. So let's highlight this here on the chart. The middle of December of 2018. over here roughly, okay? And then we had our bull run, which was up to June of 2019, okay? End of June 2019. So let's look at that, end of June 2019. This is total 3 relative to total. This is the altcoin relevance, so to speak, within the cryptocurrency market. It went down. Okay, so Bitcoin went up massively. We had this really nice rally over here, right? A 4x in Bitcoin, and the altcoins did not outperform. A very similar situation to what we are currently seeing since the beginning of the year. Obviously not yet to that magnitude. We haven't yet 4x'd in Bitcoin, but still the same kinds of dynamics. We're coming out of a bear market and Bitcoin is leading the rally. The underlying reason for that, in my opinion, is that the people that are now in the market are very different from the people that are in the market when there's hype. Currently, there's no hype, right? Crypto YouTube channels are not really growing. Not a lot of transactions on any kind of network. Trading volumes are down. There's no attention on the crypto space whatsoever. So the money that's currently in Bitcoin or in crypto in general is rather long-term money. So the people that are willing to buy something and hold it over the long term because they believe in that asset over the years. They're okay with some kind of downside volatility as long as in some years from now it will recover. That's the idea. Now, most of those people feel more comfortable holding something that is very likely going to participate in the next rally. If you're going to buy an altcoin somewhere on this list, how safe are you really that this altcoin will perform well in the next bull run? Some of them might, but a lot of them also might not. Right? When you go back in time, I haven't prepared this, but when you go back in time and you look at the different rallies that happened within crypto, the altcoins that rallied in 2013 were very different to the altcoins that rallied in 2017, and they were very different to the altcoins that rallied in 2020, 2021. So there are a few altcoins that are able to participate in multiple rallies. Cardano, for example, was one of them. But most altcoins actually change from rally to rally. Bitcoin and Ethereum stays though. Thus, if you are willing to buy low with a very long-term outlook, right, to sell it high several years in the future, the safest bet is probably to simply just go with Bitcoin. That's why you see a lot of capital being deployed throughout the bear market, not necessarily in the risky altcoins, because you can never know will they recover. You can't potentially hold it for 3 or 4 years. But for Bitcoin, that's very different, right? You can buy it now and you can hold it for several years. Bitcoin has recovered from these kinds of crashes in the past. And the assumption is that it will recover again, right? They will stay around, that the branding is strong enough, that the decentralization is strong enough. That's what we usually see when times are really depressed, when attention is really, really low. What we usually see is that Bitcoin is leading the pack. Bitcoin is leading the rally out of a bear market. People are buying Bitcoin and are forming the bottom in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is rallying first. What then afterwards comes, once Bitcoin has already rallied a lot, that's then when the attention on crypto gets restored. That's when the short-term speculation enters the market. And that's then also when even some people that are offloading Bitcoin might be moving into the altcoin speculation, because the risk to reward for Bitcoin itself might not look as nice anymore, right? When you buy Bitcoin, say during the Corona crash for 5K, for 4K, and you had this 20K top in the past, you might calculate with at least a 3x, right? Or 4x. That's kind of like your minimum assumption, and then it might go afterwards higher. Now, when you are already at 50K, it's very unlikely that you're going to calculate already with another 4 or 5x very soon, because it does take a lot of capital to move Bitcoin from 50K to 250. It doesn't take that much to move it from a low level to a level we have seen already in the past. So once Bitcoin is at a certain level, that's then when you see the capital getting allocated to the riskier place, because that's then where the potential upside still is if the speculation is still active. Once the speculation dies down and the money has moved to the smart players and all the tourists, so to speak, have been washed out, that's then when the market completely crashes and the whole cycle repeats again. So what do I do in this kind of a market? I have, obviously, and I've mentioned this very often on this channel, I have dollar cost averaged all the way on the way down, right? I'm buying and buying and buying. And what am I buying? I'm buying the thing I'm bullish on over the long term, and this is mainly Bitcoin. Right? This is my main play in crypto, buy on the way down. Now you need to time this somewhat, right? You need to consider when are we going to sell. I'm currently not selling based on a magnitude of different indicators also discussed on this channel. But what I think is that this dynamic of Bitcoin leading the rally is unlikely to already have finished, because we have seen this play out for way longer in the past, right? We have seen this through a 300% move, and currently we are up only 30%. So I think it makes more sense still to rather get into Bitcoin than get into altcoins. So far, nothing has yet been lost. I think it's very likely that Total 3 is going to continue to become less important. And I am not so sure if we actually will see a bottom over here. We will at least, in my opinion, we will at least go to this floor here, but I would not be surprised if we even break this and if we fall lower and lower, because Bitcoin will simply make higher and higher highs and the altcoins can't keep up, because people are still afraid of altcoins. The attention on crypto is still pretty low, and in altcoins, more often than not, it is a player versus player game. And if the first players are the people that build up the whole altcoin, right, that are the insiders, the VC guys, if those are the first players, you are the second one, and you don't expect a third player to come after you because there's simply not yet a lot of hype around, and the altcoins have a problem getting some traction. Still, right, overall, I am somewhat bullish on Bitcoin, given that the macro, as in traditional finance, will not completely create us another global financial crisis, right? If that happens, if the Fed raises interest rates so high to really get those 2% inflation rate, then of course we might be in a whole different scenario, right? Then the property prices might crash so much that it could even impact banks, etc. A whole different story. But let's say this all gets under control and traditional finance doesn't completely collapse, then I think Bitcoin is in a pretty strong position. I would go so far to say that independent of what the traditional financial markets do, that Bitcoin is very likely going to outperform the Nasdaq or the S&P 500 in 2023. That's simply because a lot of the tourist money, a lot of the very speculative money is now out of the market, and the diamond hands, so to speak, that are willing to hold for several years, they are now the majority holders. 66% of all of Bitcoin hasn't moved in the last year. They are now the main holders, and they're unlikely to sell even if we do see another leg down in traditional markets. So the downside is, relatively speaking, at least somewhat protected for Bitcoin, and the upside is obviously there as well, right? That's my current take on this. Now, if you found this useful, there is an interesting Telegram group, so feel free to check that out. In case you use Telegram, simply search for Bitcoin Strategy Channel. You can also just go to this link. So I answer questions there as well, right? I'm there several times a day. So Bitcoin Strategy Channel in the Telegram app. Looking forward to see you there. Looking forward to also see you in the comments or in the next video. See you then, and bye-bye.